Welcome back.
Hello, everyone.
I'm Feli, if you don't know.
I'm Manji.
And I'm Ty, and welcome to the Fineprint.
Yes.
How's everyone doing today?
Feeling great. I can't stop laughing today.
Yeah, you're on a little laughing
I'm like
spree.
in a goofy mood today, so bear with me, you guys.
There's definitely not like Goofy's good. We need more Goofy.
It could be much worse. There's much other moods that you can be, but
Yeah, I guess I could be negative and dark.
yeah.
So there's that. There's that option.
Yeah, no, we have enough of that outside. So,
Okay.
In here we have a positive space full of laughter and goofiness and friends and kikiing.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, there's been a lot of heavy shit going on in my life, but I'm just keeping it light.
Yeah.
Trying to.
We have a new president, so that's really all that matters.
President-elect
Yeah.
Biden.
That's probably helping your mood. It's helping my mood, definitely.
And to Trump, Biden. Bye. If he will ever concede, though, because he's not trying to leave. He's like, no, I'm staying in this White House. Your ass is going to go to jail.
He's like that one friend that you kind of like but don't really like that comes over to your house after a night out and you just really want to go to bed and they just kind of
And they can linger?
Uh-huh.
Yes.
And then you just kind of go to bed yourself thinking that they're going to get the hint and you wake up the next morning and they're still on your couch.
Oh my God, I just was watching this thing. I think it was Don Lemon. He was saying it was like this little clip of Trump speaking, and he was like, oh my gosh. He was like, you know that guy at the bar that just won't go home?
Mm-hmm.
He was like, that's him. That's the president. He just like is going on and on about what he used to do, and I used to play football back in '64 and all of this, and he's like, that was like 50 years ago. Let it go.
It's like, nobody cares.
Nobody cares.
Please
At all.
leave. Please leave.
Please
I'm
leave.
just being nice, but I'm going to have to escalate it in a second.
You guys should see that clip. It's just really funny. Don was just like laughing. He's just like, what's happening right now? Anyway.
Love it. How's your week been, Manji?
It's been good. I just feel like lately I've just been super chill for some reason. I've just been calm, cool, collected, trying to stay patient, waiting for things to happen, waiting still to get a job, a permanent position, but she gonna come eventually.
Yes. If you guys have been following us since the conception of the show, Manjura has been probably looking for his dream job, So it's been
Yeah.
it's probably been like not too long, but long enough. We get angsty sometimes when, we want to get out there and start making some real coins.
Exactly.
So,
Yeah, it's been like, what,
Five
five months?
months? Mhm.
Yeah, because you moved back in June,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
So we're
But I'm just being patient.
keep your head up. We support you.
Still working. I know it's gonna come eventually, and I'm just waiting for it to be like the perfect, like you were saying, the perfect position.
Absolutely.
I mean, I
Yeah.
did get a job offering, but I turned it down because it wasn't what I wanted to do. So
Yeah.
I wasn't just gonna accept it because I needed a job. I was just like, I want it to be something that I really feel passionate about. So
And we don't settle.
exactly.
Yep.
So she gonna come eventually.
I love it, love it,
Good
love it,
job.
love it.
She will, and I'm sure a lot of people out there can resonate with that because it has been hard trying to find a
Yeah.
job. And then they're talking about increasing restrictions. So, who knows what the job market is going to look like now.
Yeah.
So just keep your head up. We've got you.
Okay.
Yeah, you'll get there. We say everything happens for a reason, so your dream job will be coming very
Yeah.
soon.
Yeah.
I've been having to learn patience, I guess. That's the reason. I gotta be patient. Because usually, for me, I've never been, without a job for this long. It always comes easily. I was like, oh, can we get a job? I got a job when I moved to Denver, in 2 weeks.
Yeah, I remember that. And I
Yeah.
was like, damn, look at him. He's out there hustling and bustling and found a job really quickly. I was
Yeah.
impressed.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, since you're looking for something very specific, and it's gonna take some time, yeah, for sure.
What was in your kind of your future? Because I don't know if you all don't know, but Felly definitely knows. Manjura and I, we got our tarot cards read about a week ago. So did she tell you anything about
Yeah.
a new job? Is anything coming to fruition? What did she say?
Well, she wasn't very specific. Like my tarot card reading was basically saying that I was on the right track. Like I've been doing like a lot of meditating, and like what the first card that came up with like was this person in like a meditative pose or whatever. And I was like, okay. And then like and then she was like, eventually things are going to align and come into fruition. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna just keep doing what I'm doing. And the last card was like the card of like celebration. So like there people were toasting wine glasses. I'm like, okay.
So she's coming. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, she's
exactly,
coming. She's coming.
exactly.
Got you. That's all I want to know.
Exactly. Mine wasn't like yours, where it was some crazy stuff happening though.
Mine wasn't really crazy. Mine just had lots of kings and crowns and lots of naked people.
Exactly.
So it was like either I'm going to be really affluent soon with a harem of just bad bitches, or who knows what this means. No, she told me all what it means and whatnot, and it was just more about just like celebrating life and whatnot. Same thing with you, like definitely on the right path, but she definitely gonna come into coins really soon, so I was very, very happy about that. So
All right, Pensacola.
yeah, right? Yes.
Yep, that's exactly what I was about to say. I don't know much, but I do know that.
Okay, exactly.
Coins and pentacles.
That was nice. It was refreshing. There was no doom and gloom in there, so that's all.
You did get the death card, but the
great.
death card isn't.
It's not always negative.
Yes.
It just means an ending or something.
And it was
So
probably
it could be a new beginning.
presidency of Trump. So,
Exactly.
yeah.
Exactly.
But yeah, that's good though. Like, I don't know. Like when it comes to tarot and stuff, I kind of believe it, but at the same time, I always know that we always like pave our own paths and whatnot. But it's always kind of cool to get like an outside kind of perspective on things sometimes. Yeah.
Really, I feel like
also really
it's
fun.
just a pulse on your current energy that's going on. Because if you do it again, like a couple weeks later or something like that, like
different.
you'll get a different things come out.
Yeah.
So, like you said, like you take it and you just like you receive the message. You're just like, okay, that's great. If all the things that I'm doing currently, right now, in this moment, are steps that are gonna lead me to the right path, then that's awesome.
Of course.
And that's good.
Yeah.
So that's great that you guys both got like positive validation, or affirmations. What is it called? Validation, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys both got validation that you guys are on the right track. So that's cool.
I think we usually tend to try to set ourselves up for success, though. We don't like to falter when it comes to that. So I think by just continuing with making the right choices and always setting yourself up for success, but also being open.
Yeah.
Some great things happen. So
Right.
that's what we're doing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
Loving it. Yeah. So this segment of Gimme Bodie is, I wouldn't really say it's like really intense, but it hits hard for me because it deals with Om. And I know that lots of individuals do Om, they do chanting when it comes to it, but I don't think that people really know where Om comes from and the power that it holds. And I do Om meditation probably about every day, because right now one of the things that I'm working on is really realizing like my truth and really using my voice and my authentic voice to help myself and also to kind of like help other individuals, but really to find out what who my authentic self is. I think a lot of the times we lose ourselves in just the hustle and bustle of just like daily life, and it kind of just puts this veil over us. And I think a lot of times when we hang out with certain individuals and whatnot, sometimes we put them before we kind of put ourselves, which kind of leads us to also forgetting about like what our authentic self is. And then also I really like asking questions of myself, like what am I doing to better myself? What are the things what are the things I need to be implementing in my life in order to better myself? What are the things I do that don't benefit me, and what are the things that I do that do benefit me? And Om really helps me to realize that, because Om is a really sacred sound. It is used in tons of different types of Indian religions and whatnot, but it helps to really just open up your throat chakra, which is your voice, your inner voice and your outer voice. And it's just good for communication with yourself, with your spiritual self, with your mental self, with your emotional self. So today we are actually going to focus on Om. So during Give Me Bodhi, we always do a little bit of a meditation to kind of get our intentions set right. And that's what we're going to do now. We're going to do 4 counts of Om, and then we're going to do 4 counts of breathing out. So it'll be Om for 4 counts. And then when we actually inhale, we're going to be setting ourselves up for the next Om. And what we're doing is we are cycling our intentions, we're cycling our truths, right? So when we do an Om, our Om is actually just kind of breathing out, and then we're going to breathe in silence, all right? So on the count of 4, we're going to do a 4-second Om, and then we're going to breathe for 4 seconds.
Cute.
Love it. All right.
So hold on, I'm always missing the breathing in and the breathing out part. So when you count to 4, are we breathing in and then
Yes.
letting go?
So we're gonna
Okay,
do
all
1.
right. I didn't know if I should be breathing
yes.
out when you say 4.
We're going to start with breathing in because we have to get the Om sound out.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course. I just wanted to make sure that I was breathing in at the right time.
Yes. So breathe in for 4 counts, Om for 4 counts.
All right, cool.
Beautiful. All right.
I told y'all I'm in a goofy mood.
So breathe in for 4 counts. Om for 4 counts. In for 4 counts. Out for 4 counts. In for 4 counts. Out for 4 counts. One more time. And that's Om.
That felt beautiful. I felt that resonance. Your voice is deep, by the way.
I was like, where's my pitch at? Where is it?
Because I think one of the important things too, you say, my voice is really deep.
Okay.
And you know we're black too, so we're always trying to like harmonize and stuff, like trying to get the right pitches and stuff. We're like, can't be the one at the church choir that can't sing, baby.
Oh my God. I just looked over and I lost it.
But yeah,
that was
feel
great.
good.
That felt
I felt
great.
it. I feel centered.
Yeah, and it's really, I don't know, I like it because it helps you with your breathing, but just doing the Om, it just kind of opens up things. And I know a lot of times you said like my voice is really deep because I really try to actually go from like my throat when I do it because that's where all of my energy is. That's where, like that sacred energy is. So sometimes you just gotta dig deep, boo-boo.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, I always like doing it before my segment because I'm like, okay, I feel centered now, so now I can talk. And that's something that like I'm actively working on is my throat chakra and sharing my authentic voice. Because I feel like I've been quiet for a long time and I'm just like, I need to talk. I need to share my opinion about, life and what's happening in life. And the topic that I was talking about this time is being Black in America. And I know that's been kind of like a heavy topic that's been, a lot of people talk about it, but I've always been kind of like quiet about it for some reason. I've always been kind of like quiet about like how I feel about things and that other people, just listening to other people and how they feel. But I feel like also being Black in America, it's important to share kind of like your experience as well. And because like, even though there aren't a lot of like people aren't in the streets as much as they were, Black lives still matter.
Yes.
And they will always matter. And I think like being Black in America, it's like it's a different experience than being a white person in America. You have to like move in a certain way sometimes, and different depending on where you are. Like if you're at work, you have to move in a different way than when you're hanging out with your friends, or with depending on like the friend groups that you're in.
Yeah.
And I know you guys have experience, so definitely share.
Oh, absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
I've got
Oh
my friend
gosh,
voice. I've got
yes.
my business professional voice. I've got my like out with my ghetto friends voice,
Right.
out with my bougie friends voice. Like, come on, like we all have these different personas we have, but we have to do it. Yeah.
What do they call it? Code switching.
Yes, exactly. So like, and it's something that like I think we could do like just naturally.
Naturally.
It doesn't even like you don't. Well, sometimes you do think about it. Like for instance, like used to work at a company where I used to be one of the only black people in the room, which happens more often than not.
Especially, was it a marketing
Yeah.
job? Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like you have to like speak a certain way or like act a certain way. Because working at that company, I did see some black people treated differently because they didn't talk in a way that people thought was acceptable, or they can talk like the business professional.
They felt
way.
like they couldn't talk proper enough. They were using too much slang.
Yes.
And yeah, I gotcha.
And are like dressing a certain way, and I saw, because I always pay attention to those things. I think like as a black person, you have to pay attention to like
We're hyper aware.
Yes.
Yeah, we're very hyper aware of our blackness and the way we get treated.
Yeah.
Especially in a job setting.
Yeah. So I would notice, I was like, okay, I have to dress this way. I have to like talk a certain way, and even like kind of like your tone in the way that you talk, you always have to like be extra like I wouldn't say like perky, I guess, instead of like being like like somber or something, because people could interpret it a certain way. And there's like certain like microaggressions that that happen that we deal with that a lot of people don't deal with. I feel like I can take like working at this company, I'm like, okay, I saw a lot of people being promoted quicker than I was, or like getting jobs, and I felt like I was working 10 times as hard as some people. I was like, I'm working super hard. Why
are you not noticing
yeah.
what I'm contributing, and
Yeah.
why is this person being promoted over me?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And they haven't been here like as long as I have, or put in the hard work. And I don't want to think of it, maybe it's just my perspective, but sometimes you have to think like maybe it is, you'd have to do with race, or because at this company as well, I didn't see a lot of black people in leadership positions. So just like, it's like if you don't see a lot of people in those types of leadership positions, people always kind of migrate to what makes them feel comfortable. So it's like they're not going to like promote a lot of people if they haven't seen it before. And I think it's also super important what Kamala Harris being elected
VP.
as the
Yeah.
VP. And she was saying the same thing, people haven't seen it before, so they don't like kind of like expect it, or they don't know how to kind of like understand it. So I feel like her being in this position is going to open a lot of doors for a lot of people.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I feel like it's kind of frustrating also seeing like some of the things that are happening with like Black Lives Matter, and then people not supporting it or feeling like they're kind of like changing the narrative. It almost seems like where it's like, oh, it's about like police versus black people or something like. And it's frustrating. Like I don't know if you've seen this sign where I used to always drive back home to like Kirkwood, and I would see the sign where it was like protect our police, and it's like, but it's not it's not about that. Like it's not about like making sure that the police goes away. It's about just people being treated decently.
Absolutely.
Being treated fairly and equal.
Right.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
not being treated less than a human being.
Right.
Because when they said happiness for all, the all didn't include us. in
Right.
that, in the Constitution.
Right. And I feel like
What was the other thing the Constitution says? We're all created equal.
Mm-hmm. They didn't believe that.
That all didn't include black people.
Yep.
And yeah, I mean, and I think there was like amendments to kind of make it, because initially in the Constitution it was like black people were considered like 3/4 of a person.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they weren't like a whole person, so there's been like constitutional amendments to kind of like.
And they did that for voting
Yeah.
purposes, right?
Exactly.
So then that way, because there was
So
so
they wouldn't
much
get whole
more
votes.
slaves than it was like I don't know how many slaves a plantation owner would have, but in comparison, it's like that's the reason why that we have so much more voting. I don't want to talk about voting again, but voting restrictions, and they're always playing around with that in the South because they don't want black people to outvote them.
Exactly.
So anyway, go back to what you were saying. I'm sorry.
I mean,
I don't want to get us
that's
off
a
on a tangent, but I mean that's why, like, that 3/4 of a person. So like they can also, because they put that in there, it's almost as if like they consider us less than. Not almost. They consider us less than.
And also educating people to think that we're less than too.
Yeah.
This is a constitutional thing you're sending out to literally an entire nation of people that are reading it and reading that African Americans are 3/4 of a person. So you reading that in something that your government puts out,
You're like, oh.
I mean, you're going to believe that.
Yeah.
And that's how it's always been. And I think with you just speaking upon your experience and whatnot, it's already exhausting. And like, I'm black, so I deal with the same type of microaggressions that you deal with every day. But I think a lot of times people don't realize that this is why it's important for we to be as authentic as possible and to speak up and to speak our truths, because people have to hear them type of narratives because it comes from both sides too. It's not even black people do the same thing. When it comes to homosexuality, when it comes to even, like you were talking about, your voices and whatnot. You know, I walk into a room sometimes, if I'm really well-spoken, they look down on you sometimes. And it's like, oh, well, you're trying to be white or you want to be like this. And it's just like, that's not the case. My mother just told me to be educated.
Exactly. And you speaking proper should not at all affect the way you interact with me as a fellow black person.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, we get those different types of situations and encounters like all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And if you think about it come from both sides, this is why a lot of just our community, we're all very confused and we don't really know what our authentic selves are because we always have to try to keep up these appearances, but from both sides.
Yeah.
Right.
And then from all of these different levels, you know, when it comes to professionalism, when it comes to friendships, when it just comes to people you meet out in public, you know, it's like, we're really, really strong individuals.
Right.
To be able to go through this stuff, and people wonder like why people lose their minds because they're always encountering all these different scenarios, all these situations, and it's just tiring people. That's why we just have to speak our truths, our narratives, get it out there. People make you feel some type of way, please let them know. And then also educate them as to why they make you feel this type of way, because through educating people comes understanding, and we just need more understanding.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
But not in an angry way, because you don't want to be
The angry black person.
the angry black person. Because we got that to contend with as well. So
Absolutely. Absolutely.
it's just walking this fine line, and so
Yeah, I think you just have to just know how to navigate it.
a lot. Yeah.
What are some things that you do to help you navigate like all of these different types of like microaggressions? Like, do you just try to think positively all the time? Do you not let it get to you? Like, how do you cope with these things?
That's a deep question. I mean, I think it depends on the situation. I think for me, like, I don't let it get to me as much. Like, I'll notice it, but then I'm like, okay, well, you know, they just don't know any better, you know? It's like, for like some of the instances, like I think I was like at a concert, and then it was like a rapper. It was a rap concert or whatever, and you know everybody's singing along, and then like you know there's of course rappers like to use the N-word and a lot of things, and like you know at this rap concert it was predominantly white people, and it was like people were just saying the N-word every single word. I was like, okay, I guess this is okay. Like, I can't.
You're like, right now I am outnumbered.
Right,
I need to assess my situation, make sure I can get out of here safely.
Right. So in those types of situations, there's nothing that you can like really do. It's just like, I'm just not going to let it get to me because it's just a weird situation to be in. you know, because you can't tell rappers or was like, you know, don't use this word because, you know, people, you know, some people thinks it's offensive, and some people, you know, like if you're in this situation, you feel like, you know, people, they shouldn't be saying this word, but like.
What rap concert was it? Eminem?
No. I think, what was it? It was, I forget.
Probably like some like Wiz Khalifa or something like that.
It was something like that. What's that?
I can see, yeah.
I think it was like, isn't it his name Young Dolph?
Yeah, Young Dolph.
Yeah,
Oh.
it was him.
That's
So I
interesting.
was just like, okay, well, I guess we can just let this pass because there's no me versus all these thousands of people.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But even like I was around like a certain friend group, and we were rapping a song, and like they had the N word, and I think it was I forget, it was tap in. But they like
tap in.
Yeah.
Sweetie?
Yeah, Sweetie.
And like even though like they were like they wouldn't say the word, it was still weird. It was just like, oh, okay, like you're not saying it, but it's like weird, like
Because it's weird because you're not saying it now.
Exactly. It's like you're not saying it, but it's just like, okay, this is a weird
I mean, I
situation.
appreciate that. If they didn't, I would
Yeah.
have been like, noted. That's good. I'm glad.
Right. And it's those certain things that you pay attention to that it's just like, are you gonna say it? Like, what's gonna happen in this situation? How black am I gonna have to get? Like,
There are different levels. There are always levels. There are levels to this game, man. Sometimes you just gotta, I don't know. You just got to show your blackness sometimes.
yeah. But I think one time where I didn't show my blackness, I was at this party, a work party, the same company that I worked for, and then it was around the time of like Mike Brown,
Okay.
and there was like protests in the streets before the police hearing or whatever, and then one of my coworkers, she was like, "Why are people protesting now? They don't even know what the verdict is going to be." I was thinking in my mind, we already know
What the verdict is
verdict's going to be because it's like
Yeah.
always.
Always.
It's
what the verdict was
always
gonna
the
be, right?
same.
Yeah. So it was like people are mad. I didn't say anything, but I wish I would have spoke up and explained why people were protesting in the streets and why people were mad, because we already know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
People are going to get away with this verdict, and she didn't understand it. Why people? She was like, people shouldn't be upset right now about it. And I was just like, that always stuck with me as a missed opportunity.
Yeah.
For me.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And of educating.
Definitely been there. Definitely
Right.
been there. Definitely
I
been
gotcha.
there.
And that was like a perfect opportunity of like, you know, using your authentic voice and kind of like explaining the other side so people could understand.
Absolutely. And also just.
And I think she probably would have received it well too, considering it was a social environment and
Right.
it was like a lighter situation that was going on. So,
So yeah.
well,
Yeah.
And I wanted, and in those types of opportunities, I want to be able to like speak up and say, okay, this is what's happening. You made, just so you understand the other side and not, you know, from like a privileged point of view.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's very important. Very important.
But yeah, and I mean, some of the things like, also like, even though like people are using your voices like with the protests and stuff, like even with Breonna Taylor, people were like really, you know, trying to make sure that justice was served, and even in that situation, it's kind of exhausting because it wasn't. You know, it was like, you know, when is using your voice going to, you know, get through in this country? It's like you were saying, it's like very frustrating, very like exhausting. A lot of the times when when you feel like, you know, it's the details are clear in it and it still nothing happens.
yeah.
Right. I think it is very exhausting, but it's very much necessary. And I know even though it feels like sometimes you are just beating a dead horse, you know, there's always someone out there that, whether it be one or two individuals, that will hear your story or that will be appreciative of you actually speaking up. You may not see it now, you may not see it a week from now or even like a couple months from now, but there's somebody out there that will appreciate you doing it. Even if there isn't another individual out there, you appreciate it because you know that you were being truthful and you did what needed to be done
Right.
at the end of the day. And I think that's just very important. So I think the more people really start to just kind of speak out about these things, you know, in the masses, the more change we'll be able to see.
I feel like we are starting to see the effect that us us meaning Black Americans, using our voice and having people to sympathize with us and as a collective, because like the president-elect, I mean, for him to get voted in, like in Georgia going blue,
It's massive.
that has always been red,
Yeah, it's
for
massive.
how long? I
think
don't
they
know
said
what year.
1992 was the last time they voted for a
Yeah.
Democratic president.
And so, which we have to credit Stacey Abrams
Of course.
for that. Like our magic. I just wanted to say that. But that's a testament. Like, it's starting to happen. We just have to keep the faith and just keep
The momentum going.
going.
Yep.
Keep going. Keep that momentum going. So, it's a very slow process.
Change is slow.
Because the people that seek to the change, what is the saying, is the people that seek the change are the ones that have nothing to lose, but the ones that have everything to lose from the change are the ones that are in power, and so they're the ones that are a lot more resistant to it. And so it's that meeting, and then how we go from here, we'll see.
Yep.
We'll see. To be continued.
To be taken to.
Always, right?
Always, exactly.
Always to
Look,
be
just
continued.
remember to try to keep your sanity gear,
Yeah.
eat right, and sleep.
Yeah.
Exactly. Meditate. That's what I've
Meditate,
been
yes.
doing.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's just. I just want to make sure going forward to speak up on those things and use my authentic voice, like
Do
you were
it.
saying.
Sometimes you gotta
Well,
show
you will
them.
always have that experience in the back of your mind. You're gonna be like, I remember that one time I didn't say anything. Actually,
Exactly. I'm not letting this
you
happen
can
again.
use that as motivation.
That's the catalyst. The catalyst.
Exactly.
But yeah, I know. This is exhausting, and a lot of us are exhausted, which means that we
Every
need
day.
some sleep.
Right?
We need some sleep, or some people getting lack of sleep. But I know you have
Right.
some details on.
Oh, it's struggle's
Sleep?
real.
Well, yes.
Well,
real.
going back to what you were saying, like as far as work, we work a lot in America.
Yes.
And America is one of the most overworked developed nation in the world. And to me, like, I kind of knew that, but so, okay, for example, I'll illustrate it. There's a show that I was watching, Emily in Paris. Have you
love
guys
that show,
seen it
yes.
on Netflix?
Yes.
So she's so cute.
Super cute.
So Emily, if you guys don't know what the show is about, she is in this marketing firm, and she goes to Paris on behalf of her marketing firm to help this smaller marketing firm in Paris. And they invite her to this like gala where they have clients there and maybe even potential clients. And she goes there. They first didn't even want her there. Let's just start there. Like, her boss didn't care for her. Her coworkers are like, ugh, we got to put up with this American person. And so she's there, and she's just like, okay, I'm going to work it, you know. She has her, like, game face on, and so they are all talking to a client, and they introduce her, and she's like, hi, and she does this whole pitch of, like, you know, this is what I've done, these are the results that I've made, and then they're all looking at her like, why are you talking about work at a function that is a social function? And then they just like scoffed at her, and they're like, ugh, Americans. And it's like, but that just like perfectly illustrates like how much we work. Like, we work, you know, like when we're at parties or just wherever. And so in order to continue to be productive, and you had touched on this like in our last podcast, rest is productive as well.
Yes.
Like, we have to have sleep, and we all know that. It's not like, you know, we all know, like, we feel good after we get a good night's rest, and we feel bad when we don't. Like, even kids know that. And we all know experts say you're supposed to get 7 to 8, but in modern day, busy life, who has time for that? We all got shit to do.
Yeah.
Like, you know, just being honest, like, I am most Americans, you know, I work a lot, literally 7 days a week. Even, you know, like right now, like us doing this, like this is on a weekend, you know, like I'm always working. You were telling me earlier about like how much, you know, how busy your week is about to be. Now it's just figuring out like how to bring that in, like how you can schedule sleep, which is sad to say, but I kind of have to do that for myself. I try to go to bed by 10, be up by 6. Most times I'm going to bed by midnight and maybe up by 6:30. But chronic lack of sleep leads to memory impairment. See, memory impairment. I couldn't even remember what the first thing was. In which I have to say, I can testify to that because I have seen my dad, for example, over the years, like he would snore for as long as I can remember as a little girl. And it took a long time for me to convince him to get what's called a CPAP. Now, for those people that don't know what a CPAP is, that's continuous positive air pressure. And that is to, especially for people that snore, what's happening is your soft tissue is blocking your airway. And so by wearing a CPAP, it gives continuous positive pressure, which is oxygen. So then that way it can gently lift those soft tissues out of the way so it doesn't block your airway, so you can continue to get oxygen going to your brain, especially, so it can heal, repair, rest, and for everything else for your body as well. But I will say that I have noticed significant, even cognitive decline in my dad, including memory impairment, over years of not getting lack of sleep. So, like, for example, like he might call me in the morning and I'm like, either on my way to work or I'm already at work, and I'm thinking, okay, I'll just like call him back whenever it's lunchtime. Then I'll get a text message like around lunchtime, hey, I called you yesterday. I'm just like, no, that was this morning. And so like I'll talk to him and he'll say, hey, I called you yesterday. I was like, no, Dad, that was this morning. And he was just like, oh, it feels so long ago. I was like, oh, this is bad. This is bad. It's like, and then it kind of makes me worry about, it makes me worry about him. And so it's just, even though we know and we all have these busy lives, we have to try to make sure to, including myself, I'm talking about myself, y'all, get that proper sleep. So like it affects processing as well. Like you're slower to
react to
how am I trying to say it? Like, react to things, but like even just like more complex thinking that requires more complex thinking, or like decision making. You're a lot slower with these things the longer you continue to have lack of sleep. So actually your productivity level goes down over time.
They have full game shows with this stuff. Have you guys seen the thing on Netflix that's a game show with the people and they literally give them 24 hours without sleep and then make them count quarters?
Oh my God, you were talking about that the other day.
It's just like the craziest thing ever because
you're sitting there exactly because lack of sleep like really fucks with your brain.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. It really like your brain definitely needs that because that is your powerhouse. And that's where you're able to do so many things and multitask, especially like working as a nurse. Like I have to have sleep. Like I notice it for my nurses out there that work in hospital. You guys can attest to this. Like when you are working, say for example, you're crazy enough to pick up 3 shifts in a row. At the end of that 3rd shift, like you're just like mentally, just like you're tired, you're exhausted. And these 12-hour shifts sometimes turn to 13, 14-hour shifts. So yeah, the importance of sleep is just, I'm really working on it in this, like, I guess I can say season, especially with it getting colder now. We kind of naturally want to hibernate, so I'm going to see how can I work on being better with my time management to where it's like, okay, if I'm not done with this, I'm just going to have to let it go. I'll get to it at this time. I have to prioritize my sleep.
Yeah.
Another thing also with chronic lack of sleep is it affects, well, actually, okay, let me take a step back. They don't know whether it's kind of a chicken and egg situation. They don't know whether depression comes first and then you have a lack of sleep or sleep disturbances, or if it's because you're having lack of sleep that is causing depression. But there's a little study that was done that had 1,000 participants that when they were doing the study, they noticed that after having a lack of sleep, they were 4 times more likely to have depression 3 years later. I was just like, whoa. And I can kind of see it, not to put my dad out there. I know I talk about my dad a lot, but I care about him. I kind of notice it in my dad too. Like, and he doesn't really talk about it, and so I just kind of lay off. But I think there's a little bit of depression going on there. And with the lack of sleep and everything, it's not going to make it any better.
Right.
And then, of course, like, with lack of sleep, you're going to be a little more irritable. You're not going to, you're going to be moody. You're not going to be as tolerant or as patient of people, like, if they have an outburst or if they, whatever might be happening. And so you may more emotionally react to a situation. So, and this is actually true of going back to moods and mental health, because I was speaking on depression. I mean, this is a common ground that a lot of mental health disorders have.
Yep.
It's sleep disturbances, anxiety, schizophrenia, bipolar disorder. So, like I said, at least with the depression, there's a chicken-egg situation. They don't know which one comes first, whether it's, the lack of sleep that causes it. But, I mean, in the long run, I mean, hell, isn't America right now, like, aren't we getting a lot more drugs to, and I haven't looked this up, that's the reason why I kind of want you guys to give me feedback, like, isn't there an increase in drugs being prescribed for, anti-anxiety?
Oh, of course, absolutely.
Antidepressants, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so a lot of stuff, comes from lifestyle.
Yep.
That we could holistically prevent in the front, but it's so hard because when you've got so much shit to do and you're like, I got all this pressure and I got this company is saying you got to, results, you got to do this, you got to do that. And then you got your family you're trying to take care of and spend time with them, and then you got your friends, and then you got, I'm not making enough money here, so maybe you got a second job or third job, and you're just trying to make it all meet and just figure it out, and balancing and juggling is just, even saying that sounds exhausting, doesn't it?
Yeah, it felt
like
exhausting.
even hearing it, so it's just, yeah, so that's what I wanted to talk about, is sleep.
I know, and I can know it in myself, also, whenever I don't get enough sleep, like you were saying, I am a lot moodier.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not myself. When
Yeah.
when I'm the next day,
you don't gotta tell me nothing. You already know.
Oh, I guess
there.
Tyler has maybe experienced
we're very like
Manji.
when we don't get our sleep. So when he's very quiet and don't say nothing out, he knows I'm really quiet anymore. It's probably because we're really tired.
Right.
So yes.
Yeah.
We're both really, really easy to read when we don't have sleep, because we just know. I can call him up and be like, "Hey, what's up?" He's like, "Hello." I'm like, go back to bed.
Go
Hang
to
up.
sleep.
Tell him to get more
Get
sleep.
some rest. But yeah, so I mean, these are the longer term effects of lack of sleep. So if you find yourself but there are some things that are just genetic.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, those are things that just can't be helped.
Right.
But if it doesn't run in your family, depression doesn't run in your family, or anxiety or mental health disorders doesn't run in your family, maybe look into your lifestyle and see what can I change, because you can't keep going on E
Yeah,
for very long. Because your body's going to be like, fuck you.
It's gonna start to break down.
It's going to
Yeah.
break down. And I see a lot of chronic health problems working in a hospital and working at another, at a medical office. I see a lot of chronic health problems, people that are in their 50s, 60s, sometimes even younger than that, because they lead such a stressful lifestyle.
Yeah. Stresses.
So
You have to figure out a way to balance it.
you have to balance
If
you
know
do.
you're working
So
a lot,
do.
it's like, I need to balance it. I need to take care of myself. I need
Yeah.
to chill. I need to relax so I can be able to take on all of this stuff.
Yeah.
I think
So
a-
I've been trying to make sure to schedule, and this is something that my therapist told me. She was like, "You like to go, go, go," and she was like, "And that's great, and that's we talk about other alternate things, She's like, "That's in your chart and blah blah," but she was like, "You got to remember the Buddha side." She's like, you better make sure you're scheduling. She's like, it sounds funny to say, but schedule it in. Make sure every Friday you do this at this time. And that's your time, that's your sacred time. Nobody else gets to have that time. And then every, Sunday you do this at this time. And nobody else gets to have that time. That's all for you. Or, in the middle of the week, Wednesday, or whenever you feel like you need it in between. She was like, just do that. And she was like, that will recharge your battery and you'll be good to go for however long, because you're like the Energizer Bunny. But, and I was like, okay. So these are things that I'm doing to help me be better about sleep. Now, on a lot of occasions, I'm, still working on me, and I still sleep late, but it's what it is.
Yeah.
At least you're cognizant of it. It's like, I know I'm working on it.
Yeah, well, not just being cognizant, I'm actually I'm taking actionable steps.
I think,
To be better. Yeah.
it's very important.
So.
But even when it comes to sleep, though, I mean, that's one of the basic things for just self-care for yourself. Mm-hmm. And if you want to, I don't know, just get more sleep, there are tons of things that you as an individual can do. And I know a lot of times when we do our little self-care talks, we always talk about kind of the different types and whatnot. But from just your conversation right there, just about sleep, I think we need to hit on actually to help people get better sleep, because I know you've noticed it as much as I have, that people on the internet or on Facebook, sometimes 4 a.m., lots of posts on there talking about, I can't sleep tonight, what's everyone doing, or insomnia.
Yeah.
And it all stems from particular things within ourselves and then also our environment.
Yeah.
And I think now everyone's just very angsty because of the whole Black Lives Matters things, because of all the things that are going on in our world, because of the whole presidency, and then also
socioeconomic
this social,
socioeconomic
everything,
climate that's happening right now. It's a lot.
People not working.
Heavy shit that's happening.
Yep.
Yeah, for
people
sure.
just being depressed, people being alone all the time. These are things that contribute to just you not be able to sleep well because of all of these kind of internal and external things that you have to deal with.
Yeah.
And I know for myself, meditation helps me in order to, one, not only have a better day, but also to get better sleep, because it helps me to kind of defrag, and then also me spiritually and also mentally, because meditation just helps me to kind of ground myself so that all of these kind of external things that are happening around me don't really affect me, so that you can kind of stay focused, for you be able to, run your day and not let your day run you, and just get out there and really just make some moves. But it also has to do with, like Felly was saying, your lifestyle choices. I know that don't drink alcohol before you go to bed, because alcohol actually impairs your sleep. It messes up your sleep patterns, and they've done studies that say if you drink alcohol before you go to bed, chances are you are going to probably wake up halfway through, because your body's still trying to process these things, and it actually still keeps you from getting to that really, really nice REM state.
Yeah.
So don't drink alcohol. Stay hydrated before you go to bed, because if you drink a really nice glass of water, what that does is it flushes out kind of all those toxins, but it also puts your body at a really, really just relaxed state.
Homeostasis.
Yes. Really
and
relaxed
what?
state when it comes to that.
And going back to the alcohol, actually food too. That's the
Yes.
reason why you're not supposed
Don't
to eat food before
Yes.
you go to sleep, because
Amps up your metabolism. It keeps your
body
bodily system
is
still
still
going.
working. Yep, and so you don't get as deep of sleep.
Yep. So no alcohol, drink water.
Which I'm guilty of
no
eating.
I
eating.
know.
Or
I was just thinking, we're gonna need to work on that.
Chocolates.
Especially like that and caffeine and stuff. Yeah.
Oh my God, yeah.
Yeah. So definitely don't do any of those things. Another thing that really helps me, and I know a lot of other people, cell phones. So an hour before I go to bed, I put my cell phone away. I don't get it. I don't look at it. I don't do that because you continuously picking up these things and looking at them keeps your mind in a very, very frantic state and still keeps you so that you are not in a relaxed state. So that's one of the big things for me is no cell phones. I don't even keep my cell phone in my bedroom anymore. I literally keep it outside of it because then I don't have any distractions. Because even when it was in my bedroom, I'd be like, ooh, wonder what's going on Instagram. Did someone hit me up even if my phone's on silent? Maybe this is happening. It doesn't matter because my sleep is more important when it comes to those things, you know?
Yeah.
Deep breath exercises, amazing for sleep. So if you have trouble sleeping, honestly, a really cool guy named Al Bailey taught me this, but if you have a really difficult time sleeping, put your arms like this around yourself, right? So you hold yourself. Mm-hmm. You don't lay down. You literally sit up and you do 10-second breathing exercises. You do these for 30 seconds to a minute. What this does is just forces your body to relax. But this whole motion, this movement, this gesture, you guys, if you can't see me because you're listening to like Spotify, I'm literally just hugging myself right now. This gives you a sense of security that spiritually like taps into like yourself. So you feel like you're being nurtured. You feel like you are really relaxed. You feel like you're being like cared for. And it's just you literally doing it. And that works every single time for me. It is the weirdest thing, but that is one of the best ways for you to be able to go like to sleep. Definitely don't try to take drugs because drugs are just going to make you dependent on them. So if there are different things that you can do to just, wind down, do it. Journaling helps me out because if you're journaling everything you've gone through today, you're kind of getting it out of your mind and on paper. So you're not constantly thinking about it and processing it, Yeah. So journaling works really well too. Like I love doing all those things, a hot shower, aromatherapy. So many different ways for you to be able to go out there and to get a good night's sleep. And the main thing is like you said, no distraction and scheduling it because this is self-care, people. And without food, water, and sleep, you're going to die.
Eventually.
Yes.
It's a slow death.
It's
That's
a
really
slow
what
death.
it is.
And people will see it.
You're shaving years off
your life.
Yeah, off your life, exactly.
And you can't do it. You're going to get the wrinkles, you're going to get the bags, you're not going to look healthy, you're not going to look refreshed. You don't want wrinkles or bags.
And then nobody wants to be around someone who's all cranky and like tired all the time either.
Because then your energy is affecting their energy. And,
exactly.
We can have it. So sleep, people. Please definitely get sleep. It's very important. Very important.
So how are we going to take care of our emotional self?
Honestly, like emotional self, when it comes to that, sleep.
Okay.
like definitely just definitely sleep. Like when it comes to that, like we're not even gonna talk about the different types of like self-care practices because sleep is one of those things that you need to be able to kind of work on all of those things. Where it comes to social self-care, when it comes to practical self-care, when it comes to physical self-care, you need sleep to be able to do all these things.
Oh, definitely.
So people, please sleep.
It's the basic foundation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't even heal if you don't sleep. It has tons of things to do with your
been
spirit and your immune system. Like, you got to sleep.
That, yeah. A hospital setting.
You just got to sleep. So, yeah.
Sleep hygiene is what they refer to it.
Yep, sleep hygiene.
In the clinical setting.
How do you get sleep? What you do?
Me?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think one thing works for me, like with family, I have a lot of energy, a lot. So I make sure like to work out.
Yep.
Every single day to get some of that energy
out, yes.
gone and get it out. Because like if I don't, then I'm just like I can't go to sleep.
You're wired.
Yeah, I'm like
yeah.
wired. So I make sure to work out. Also, like my mind goes a lot. Mm-hmm. I know I just think about a lot of stuff. So sometimes I'm not able to like quiet my mind down.
Yeah.
So meditation has helped with that because when I meditate, I just quiet my mind. So I'm learning to control that a little bit better. So it's not getting out of control. So those are the things that have helped me.
Beautiful.
Definitely. I need to work on not eating before sleep because that's a bad habit that I have.
Same.
I think that goes for everybody.
Me and food, just
Let's talk about. I just eat a lot.
Gotcha.
so yeah, that's something I need to work on. Not eating before I go to bed, but.
Love it. Well, I think that actually ends our episode 6 of our Fine Print.
Yeah, this was fun, you guys.
This was a lot of fun, guys. Yeah.
I'm glad that we got to talk about all these
topics.
things.
Yeah, me too.
Well, thanks for joining us again. And until next time.
The Fineprint Podcast with Ty, Felly, and Manji.